remind you guys, though, here in about an hour and 17 minutes, we are going to be giving you your final opportunity for the 7-year send-off. All you got to do is call the number 850-215-6290 and be caller number 10 when we give you the cue to call. Clash at the Castle WWE event coming up in Scotland this weekend. So, Coach, I'm going to hand it off to you and just kind of listen and participate here.
Well, when it's premium live event time, it's not pay-per-view anymore.
Yeah, that's
premium live event, they got it, it's
PPM,
hospitals or medical facilities and all of this nonsense. We'll play the games. But we always like to have these guys in. They run the absolute best show out there. Cablevision, Facebook, YouTube, Monte and the Pharaoh. You can check them out every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. in that New York time. So let's talk to the guys here. We've got Jimmy Pharaoh sitting to my left. How are you, brother?
Hey, yo.
And Mike Monte. Monte, how you doing up there, brother?
Hey, yo.
What's up? Oh, my goodness. Well, guys, obviously great stuff last night. Let's start with that. I mean, just talk a little bit about, how y'all got started in your show and some of the guests you've had recently and what we've got coming up here.
Well, we go back to we met in junior high school to recap, history, revisionist history at this point, but hey, it's still history. We hit it off back then. Our friendship was formed on professional wrestling. Many years go by. Mike winds up in the military. I wind up as a lead singer in a rock and roll band, so obviously we take different paths, but somehow we find each other again, and Mike was getting involved in the wrestling podcasting business, and we started talking. The next thing you know, we've got a show. A few years later, we've got a resume that includes over 100 WWE Hall of Famers on it. Yeah. So that's basically the short story to the long journey, right, Mike?
Can't say it any better than that, Jimmy. Can't say it any better.
Well, I'm on today.
Well, it's one of those things, guys, where not only do you have all the current and retired things, but I watched the other night, I saw you guys have a spirit box. You were actually calling in the spirits of Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Brother.
It's a highly entertaining show, guys. You need to go check out the YouTube library and check them out on Thursdays. Well, let's get to it here, guys. Clash at the Castle, WWE's latest premium live event. Guys, this is the third consecutive, I didn't even realize this, this is the third consecutive premium live event that's on foreign soil. Because we had the one in France, Backlash, then we had the King and Queen of the Ring over in Saudi Arabia, and now we're going to be in Glasgow, Scotland for the Clash at the Castle. Now, they did this last year in Wales, so obviously they're getting huge crowds, huge turnouts, a lot of excitement because these are places that don't get WWE on the regular. But what do you think about having 3 in a row there? Is it something they should maybe every other, every third? Are they going to the well too often, or what do you guys think about this?
No. It's fine right now. I don't think that it's certainly not going to hurt. It's certainly not going to hurt the American attendance. It's not affecting television ratings in any negative way. Right. The house shows still sell out. Look, they're a machine, and what they're doing right now is absolutely fine. Are you still singing the AJ Styles song? I'm wondering.
La 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 la.
There you go.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. So I really don't think it's doing any damage at all. As a matter of fact, it's kind of like the middle finger to AEW. Like, oh yeah, you did England once. Ha ha. Yeah. Watch this. If you understand what I'm saying, Mike, what do you think about that?
I think they're doing great business, and it's a smart thing to do. This is truly worldwide wrestling. Unlike where they used to say it in the past, like they're the world champion. These guys are truly world champions. They're traveling the world.
Yep.
And they're making incredible business. And I think I said to Jimmy the other night, I have to apologize. Cody Rhodes has pulled it off. I don't know how. Yep. I don't know why, but he's pulled it off.
Greatest face since Bob Backlund. I know that makes you nauseous, but I really believe that. I think he's the greatest face champion with the suit and the way he represents. All the parents can turn to their little kids and say, "Here's your role model." It's sickening, isn't it, Mike, for us rooters of the heel? But he's a great face champion so far.
Agreed, Jimmy. Agreed.
He sounds sick.
I feel the same way.
Me too.
I didn't see it.
Me too.
I thought we would already be sick of Cody. I really did.
Right.
I thought it would have already happened. But hey, they're doing a good job. Kind of in conjunction with doing these events overseas, obviously the time changes. Now, for years, we would, be used to pay-per-views being Sunday nights. And so that was kind of rough because you had to go to, work the next morning or something like that. Not for you rock and roll stars, obviously, but but you had to do that. Then they moved them to Saturdays. Obviously, the big show like WrestleMania has 2 nights. But when you run these overseas, they're running them at I think this one, the actual show starts at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's kind of a different time, but I wonder y'all's take, now that the shows are on Peacock and they're available, on demand, does it matter that much anymore when they're actually airing live or anything obviously you have to avoid spoilers, but what do you think about that notion of it being earlier in the day, which would normally drive down the buys, but since you're on Peacock, maybe that doesn't matter anymore?
Mike, take this one over because I know I feel exactly like you do.
I got to say, Coach, first of all, great question, and here's my answer. The WWE, after losing Roman Reigns and him losing the title, has not become must-see pay-per-view, PLE, or TV. So to answer your question, you can catch it anytime you like because you know what the results are going to be. They had a champion, before where it was must-see title defense. You didn't want to catch it on replay. All this stuff, forget about it. And to be honest with you, at our age, at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, I'm not watching it during the summer. No thanks. Not really worth my time.
And to hammer home the point, he's so right about Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns' programs, no matter who he was matched up against, you always did have that shadow of the doubt in your mind. Is he going to get past this? Is he going to lose the title? And then when the match itself would happen, there were several moments in the match where you'd go, oh my God, is this the moment? He's had the belt for so long. Is he going to lose to this guy? I don't feel that way with Cody Rhodes' title defenses so far. I feel like I know Cody Rhodes is going to win, and we'll get to his match at Clash a little bit later.
Yeah, I think with the bigger champions, there's always an element of that on these. It's weird to call them smaller premium live events, but they are. We have the Grand Slam now, basically the way we do in other sports. You've got WrestleMania, obviously, is the granddaddy of them all, but then you've got the Royal Rumble, you've got SummerSlam and Survivor Series are kind of known as the big four.
Right.
And then the others through there, it's really rare you're going to get a major title change during those times. So I get that. Speaking about that, these shows have been, other than WrestleMania, obviously, is 2 days. There's talk of SummerSlam going to 2 days going forward, I believe, next year. These new shows, what WWE's doing, I really like. 5 matches, less than 3 hours. You talked earlier about the middle finger to AEW, which seems like it goes on for 4 or 5 days.
Right.
It's an interesting way. Do you guys like that, especially for these? It's a much more... It's a show you can kind of watch and not feel like you've spent your entire day on it.
It's compact. It's excellent. 5 matches is great. I don't want to sit there and watch 14 matches. I love wrestling matches. Yeah. People who are like trying to get into wrestling, having to sit through 12, 13, 14 matches with lousy matchups because you put 10 pounds of poop in a 1 pound bag. No, absolutely not. No, this is like get in, get out. 5 matches is great. Give me like 2.5 hours. Almost sounds like the old running times for baseball games. I don't know if they've gone back to that 2.5 hours.
It's gotten back,
but that's about all I can tolerate. I don't want to sit there and watch 3.5, 4 hours of 2-0. Yeah. So I think that the compact approach works great. Mike, what do you think about the 5-match card?
I think what the WWE is doing well now, they went kind of backwards. They're giving every wrestler storyline, and having these overseas pay-per-views or these multiple premium live events, is allowing these other wrestlers to tell their story.
Awesome.
So they've done a really good job with this. Everybody has a story now, and everybody can finish their story. And, like, for example, hottest storyline going on, Liv and Dom. Right? You got Liv and Dom going on. Everybody's waiting for that, but you've got all this other stuff circling around, right?
Right.
In a way, kind of piggybacking off what I was talking about on the lead up to that question, does having these be more compact 5-match cards kind of separate themselves and make the bigger shows bigger in their mind?
They absolutely do, through the process itself of allowing these other shows to develop characters further.
That's right.
Look at Piper Niven. Piper Niven's got a spot this weekend. Would she have this normally if we were log jamming? Probably not.
Right.
So I think that the adding of these bang bang shows allows more character development and allows the main pay-per-views to have even better storylines for everybody involved. You're really checking off everything here when you do it that way.
And the main pay-per-view, like, kind of closes the story. It ends the movie.
Right.
So you've got all these different stories going on. It all, it comes to an ending at a SummerSlam, at a Royal Rumble, at a WrestleMania.
Correct.
What I want to pivot real quickly, and then we're going to get into predictions, in a little bit on the.
I make observations. I don't make predictions.
I'm curious.
God, I hate that word. I hate it so much.
I know.
What do you think's going to happen on The Sopranos this week? And if you guess wrong, you're a loser.
On the script, on the scripted show. Exactly.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't.
So I guess we probably alluded to it a little bit. Mike and I are very surprised that Cody's kind of held on okay, better than we thought. But let's say outside of that, what has been, I don't know the right way to phrase this, maybe, what has been the best surprise or the thing that maybe you didn't see coming since WrestleMania that's gone on in the WWE? Like, what have you been really pleased with in terms of what you've seen since April?
A couple of things jump right away into my mind. I love to see the ascension of Chad Gable being allowed to show his talents. Chad Gable is excellent.
Yeah.
He really is. What an irritating bad guy he makes. You really do want to choke him, and that's what you want to do with a bad guy.
Right.
He really reeks of it. I mean, I love bad guys, but I'm begging for Otis to smack him already.
Yeah.
I'm like, my God, smack him already. And that's not my norm. I'll usually just root for the heel, even if he's lighting your house on fire. So basically, that's been a huge surprise. I'm thrilled with seeing Braun Breaker doing what he's doing, just annihilating everybody. He's a Steiner, and like Mike said, Steiners are not usually paired up with women, so I guess we can't really, wait for the evil woman to be at Steiner's side. So Mike's got a point there that he talked about this week on his show. But I also love Drago very much.
Oh, yeah.
Very much. And I'm hoping that they are part of the future plan that they seem to be planting the seeds for right now. So that's been a couple of things. Gable, Breaker, and Drago have all been really nice to see getting some time. How about you, Mikey?
Biggest surprise to me is that the machine keeps running. I really expected to see a downturn and some more complaining, but they've just done a fantastic job all the way around. So that's my biggest surprise. I really, like you, Coach, I thought once that belt got around Cody, after a couple of months, it was just going to, drain the swamp, and it was all over, and it seems not to be the case.
What does that say about Cody Rhodes, by the way? I know it makes you guys probably ill to give him some compliments, but what does that say about Cody Rhodes as a face, as a champion?
Well, if you're asking me, I say it says more about the WWE. Let's not forget, Cody Rhodes was at AEW before. He was unable to carry that company.
Right.
So I give credit to Cody, don't get me wrong, but I give credit to the storyline and what the WWE put into Cody Rhodes. They were smart enough to realize not to let him win WrestleMania 39.
Right.
They knew they needed some extra time. And wherever all these Cody fans are flipping out, I give all the credit in the world to whoever is writing the storylines, whether it be Vince McMahon in the beginning, to Triple H now, to Shawn Michaels. I have no idea. Much credit to Cody Rhodes, don't get me wrong, but more credit to the WWE and to the machine that they built. They built a champion, and a champion. Jimmy, we talked about it yesterday. Cody Rhodes' T-shirts are not in top wrestling shirts, it's in top sports shirts. It's like number 5.
How you like them apples?
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah. And you know what else is it? What does it say about the doofus fan base over in AEW and the bigger doofuses that write the scripts over there that Cody couldn't get over in a company he founded? What does that say about that? It tells you that the WWE scripters know what they're doing, and they have a game plan, and they think long-term. And it also shows you that the WWE audience is not looking for you to just break your neck every match. Well, if you give us a good storyline and you're a good wrestler, they'll absorb it.
But that's a wonderful point, because it's the ADD nature over there that they just wanted him to turn so that he turned, and 2 weeks later they'd want him to turn back and all like this. This is good long-term storytelling at its finest, because Cody Rhodes is essentially portraying the same character.
Right.
But with better writing, better planning, obviously it's done. I would say, for me, the thing that has been the most welcome surprise is every year after WrestleMania, they elevate people from NXT. And every year it seems like they waste them. The way they have integrated the people up this time has been wonderful.
Yes.
And I'm not just talking about Breaker. Breaker was going to be good regardless, but I think the way that they brought Dragunov in, because I was really worried about that, has been excellent. The way that they brought Lyra Valkyria in was super surprising.
Yep.
They're really doing a good job bringing the next generation along. And they're integrating them to where they don't have to come in and beat everybody every time, but they're putting them in the right situations for them to succeed. Right. That has been wonderful.
So you're saying that Karrion Kross has terrible timing?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, what a shame. What a shame. That was some NXT package that they wound up not doing anything with. Oh, well. What are you going to do?
Yeah, so... do you have anything you want to throw in there, Dave? Because we've got the observations portion coming up.
Yeah, the observations. By the way, Dave, are you nervous? You have a caveman, a pharaoh, and a bone crusher, within a few feet of you. I mean,
I got a coach in here to keep me on top of everything. If anything, I'll just swim away from danger.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
We are at the beach. Just do the backstroke.
Well, actually, I'm looking up some
The afternoon underdogs are on the air. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
I'll let y'all go for the rest.
Yeah, I kind of hate to.
Hour number 2 is 18 minutes away. I jumped the gun a little bit. We are right here in the 440 segment, and we're going to continue on with the Clash at the Castle. Where was the result? What was the result? Yeah, let's do this one. All right,
let's go.
What was the result of the first ever WrestleMania match in 1985?
Ooh, I don't remember.
I don't remember what the first match was.
I know this one, and Mike knows this. Wait. Mike, before you say anything, are we supposed to say anything, or is this for somebody to guess?
If you know it, I would prefer that you...
Keep quiet.
Keep quiet. If you don't know it, but you think you do, you can throw it out there.
Mike, we know it, so we'll be quiet, and let's see if one of the callers out there, listeners, can get this right.
That'd be great.
850-215-6290. We'll give you $25 to not the, but that booze store and a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock. What was the result of the first ever WrestleMania match in 1985? Brian, I'm going to make this a little bit easier for you now here as well, because it is multiple choice. Is it A, Andre the Giant defeating Big John Studd? Is it B, King Kong Bundy taking care of Special Delivery, defeating Special Delivery?
Jones?
Was that Keep going. There's a few more choices here. Read the rest of the choices.
Letter C, Junkyard Dog defeating Greg Valentine, or D, Tito Santana defeating the Executioner.
I think I know which one it is.
No way, Caveman Rick.
Go for it, Dave. No, wait a minute. Do we have a caller or a Caveman going to take it?
Well, nope, you're wrong.
Really?
You're wrong.
But wow.
What Caveman Rick say? I'm missing out.
He put up he put up some fingers and stuff. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Looks like I got it wrong.
I think I know. I would, for some reason, off the top of my head, I just had this vision, and I know it's not this. When the question came up, I had this vision of Coco Beware and that stupid parrot for some reason.
He's a little late.
But I do think I know what it is now. So okay,
all right,
that's good.
That was because of that dumb video they did back in the 80s.
Oh my God! Yeah,
Land of a Thousand Dances.
No, that was was it Pile Driver?
Yeah. We performed that on the show with Coco. We performed that song on the show with Coco. Yes,
how about
we did.
that?
Yeah, how you like that,
right,
Michaels?
well,
and they can see that on your YouTube channel.
Yes, they can.
There you go.
The Pharaoh's YouTube channel.
I
yes,
love
sir.
it.
And I posted the link of Monte and Pharaoh's channel on our Facebook live feed right now. So if you want to go check that out,
check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks,
it looks
guys.
like there's a ton. Y'all have a ton of content on there.
Yeah, we do.
A ton of content.
There's a library.
Lots of subscribers.
Yep. There's a library there. We're very proud of that.
And
that was a lot of hard work.
Y'all had to restart everything too. Is that something? I don't want to get into it today.
It's fine. We did have to restart. We had a very famous guest on, Missy Hyatt, I do believe was the guest, and she had made a derogatory comment towards Governor Cuomo back in the time when he was governor, and we were basically canceled. And it was very frustrating because we're the interviewers, we're not the interviewee. We ask questions. We did not ask, would you like to do so and so to Cuomo? This was something that was volunteered by her on the subject of politics, and the next thing you know, we're being canceled, and it's unfortunately it's the way of the world nowadays. But that was the deal.
Just that much more impressive, restarting from scratch and building it back to where you guys are.
Yeah, we're getting right back to where we were. We're pretty close to the 20,000 plethora. So we're, right back to rocking and rolling and hitting the wrestling.
Very impressive stuff. We only got about 12 minutes.
All right,
here,
let's get into the card here, I guess, for Clash of the Castle.
Exactly.
Well, let's start with it, guys. We talked about how impressive Chad Gable has been. We've got Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship. Of course, there's been a lot of talk about Gable's contract. He's coming up on free agency. Has he signed? Will he sign? Who knows? What do we think here, guys? Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable.
Mike, take this one first, please.
No predictions, please. Just observations.
Well, I'm going to make a bold prediction.
Oh, of course he is.
Chad Gable will win the title with the help of his crew there, and moving on with the Chad Gable story. So, Jimmy, you'll get your Otis Chad Gable match for SummerSlam, and that will be a lot of fun.
You stole my thunder. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. I think they keep teasing the Otis thing. I think Otis helps Gable get this win. And then you're right. I think SummerSlam is a perfect time. Look, it's going to be $1 Million Man and Virgil, R.I.P., Part 2. It's going to be huge because the fans are so behind Otis and wanting him to turn. But I agree. I think he sticks with Chad. I think they keep teasing it, but Chad wins.
I think Chad should win, but you know what? This is where I always get crossed up because SummerSlam's supposed to be sexy. You want to bring in your sexy star, Sami Zayn, and it's ridiculous that I'm referring to him that way. Look at him. But Sami Zayn is extremely popular and very over, and I would think that he would be going into SummerSlam as Intercontinental Champion. Otherwise, what are you doing with him?
Yeah. What's
his role going to be? So, if I'm pressed against the wall, I would say that I would much prefer Chad to win, but Sami seems like the safe bet.
The match, guys, that, for lack of a better term, will be the popcorn match, I think, unfortunately, on this card. The triple threat for the Women's Tag Team Championships. We've got the champions, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, who look like, I think I heard someone describe them as the female version of the Road Warriors. That was a pretty interesting comparison.
Okay.
Against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. There's some UK there that's going to be interesting. And Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. This, to me, I would be shocked and amazed if Jade and Bianca did not win this one, because I think the real story, and we all know it, Jade versus Bianca is going to be the story. They need to keep them going before the ultimate breakup and the heavyweight bout that will be those two. So I think they get the win here.
I agree with that one. I think that's pretty. It's a pretty safe bet. When do they finally clash, though? Do they wind up at WrestleMania against each other? How far off is this breakup?
I don't know if they can sustain it that long. This could be a Survivor Series or maybe a Rumble kind of blow.
Right, Mike. Is this just an easy decision here on your end?
I think this goes to WrestleMania.
Really?
This has got a lot. This has got a lot of legs on it.
I agree.
One thing I will mention, though, Cargill looks incredible. But when you see Belair come out, and you just judge it, right? Obviously, Cargill is more ripped, but Belair is like, she is, what an athlete.
Yes.
What a body.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
I'll wait to WrestleMania. They need to build this thing up and you got to give Jade some time. She's not ready. She's still too green. You need to get to WrestleMania. She needs a lot of reps. And, I say we wait till WrestleMania. You got plenty of time to build this. Leave the belts on them. Tease it. Let's have that clash at the end.
When was the last time you saw a tag team come out where their auras are both as big as the other ones?
Yeah.
This is a really good team.
That's why this split is going to work so well.
It is.
I mean, it really is.
It is.
Third match, interesting one because of where this is taking place. You mentioned it earlier, Jimmy. Piper Niven getting a shot here. Obviously, she is from Scotland. Mm-hmm. She's going to be hugely over, but she's taking on Bayley, who is a giant star, especially in the UK. They've adopted her and have for years. I mean, that's where a lot of these Bayley chants and songs all started back in NXT, and Bayley, a very popular champion.
Yep.
It would be a really interesting place for a weird kind of title change.
Right.
But I'm not sure I'm ready to give it. I think it would be neat. I think they could tell an interesting story if Piper Niven were to get this. I just don't think it's going to happen here. I think Bayley retains.
This is one of those matches where they do the title change and you go, I can't believe they just did that.
Yeah.
It feels like that. I agree with you, but I don't think that it should happen, nor do I think it will happen. I think that Bayley will. Again, I'm looking towards SummerSlam. Who are your sexy names? Bayley is one of them. You know what I'm saying? So I think Bayley finds a way to get out of there with the title.
You're not going to have two title changes on this premium live event. So if we're going with Gable, the rest of it is pretty easy to figure out. But I'm not so sure if it's easy to figure out because we've got that other championship match on the line, which I'm very interested to hear from you guys. But Bayley retains. This is a no-brainer. It's just, it's food for fodder. Dewdrop. I like to call it
Dewdrop.
Dewdrop didn't get the opportunity to go last year, so this is kind of like, hey.
No, that's stupid name. She's not getting an opportunity.
You know
Dewdrop.
You know what I could see here, guys? I could see what happened with Zelina Vega in Puerto Rico.
Right.
Where she comes up a little short, but gets the nice applause at the end, the ovation. I think that would be neat.
This match is going to serve her well, one way or the other.
Next up, we'll save the championship. Well, I mean, all of these are title matches, which is interesting, but let's do this one next. Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles in an I Quit match. I Quit matches, they're interesting. They're not my favorite gimmick matches that are out there. And anytime the babyface loses, it's through some kind of nefarious means where, like, they bring Edge's wife in and they're threatening to hit her with a chair, or they bring someone else into the fray. I heard an interesting conspiracy theory that Mama Rhodes will be at this event. Will she be brought into it? I don't see any way Cody doesn't leave this the champion, but what do you guys think?
I totally agree. And again, this gets back to my point that when Roman was champion, you never knew whether or not he was going to slip out of there with the belt or not. There was always that shadow of the doubt. AJ Styles is an amazing wrestler, a first ballot Hall of Famer. This match is going to be great, but AJ Styles is somehow going to say, I quit, and Cody Rhodes is going to walk out of there continuing to befuddle Coach and Monty.
Well, I'm going to go with AJ Styles. I think he definitely is going to win the title, and there's no doubt. No, come on, guys.
You had me. You were Roman Reignsing me. I believed every syllable. Well done, Mike. Well done.
So, bigger question is, by AJ saying I quit, does he use this to retire?
Ooh. AJ's not going to say I quit. The brothers are going to throw in the towel.
You think?
Yeah, it's the Good Brothers.
Interesting.
And that's going to be, you got to keep AJ safe somehow. I never said I quit. You guys said I quit for me. Who knows?
I'm going to go with Coach. I think he's going to say I quit and he's going to retire.
Wow.
You know what? It's time. That's a good call, Coach. I'm going to go with that route.
Wow. If that's really the end for AJ Styles, a title match saying I quit, that's a little different than, Michaels looking at Flair going, I'm sorry, I love you, and kicking him in the face. But, wow, that's a terrible way for AJ to go out.
That only gave us 20 more years of Flair.
Right. I'm not done yet. Woo!
Just add into it, right? He says, I quit. The Good Brothers beat him up, and now AJ Styles is a face, and now I'm not quitting now because I have to get my revenge.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
All right. Final match. This is the interesting one here because obviously we're in Scotland. Drew did not beat Roman Reigns last year at the Clash. Surprised a lot of people who thought maybe that'd be a good place for it. Not me, but Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre for the heavyweight championship. I've got my own thoughts on this. I'm going to save it, so I'm going to go to you guys first. What do we think happens here?
Oh, boy. You'd think on the surface that Drew would be able to leave there with the championship and make his homeland happy, and he's happy, and it's payback for him doing a quick turnover at WrestleMania and giving the belt to Priest and all of that other stuff. But McIntyre is going to win by disqualification. He's not going to get the damn belt, and Priest is going to wind up keeping the belt and fighting Gunther, who's going to take the title from him at SummerSlam. This is what I think should probably happen, even though I want McIntyre to walk. Personally, as a fan, I want McIntyre to walk out of there with the title. I think he should. But you know what? Vince is not involved, so maybe he will. Maybe he will.
Vince never lets people
walk out with the title. Right. Maybe he will. Maybe Triple H is booking it that way. But if they don't book it that way, which I think they should, they will probably do a DQ where the Judgment Day ruins the match for him. This still leaves McIntyre and Punk open to further things, and Priest takes the title in and loses to Gunther, because Gunther is definitely heading for a world title, and it would make sense that unless you have McIntyre winning and turn around and lose to Gunther, you know, there is that too. Mike, you got to help me out here. This one's a conundrum, matey.
I just can't see 2 title changes, but it's either McIntyre wins, we set up Punk, McIntyre, SummerSlam, McIntyre loses for whatever reason, DQ, whatever, Punk wins the belt from Priest at SummerSlam. I don't know which way they're going to go with this. In the end result, it's got to be Punk McIntyre, and it has to be Punk McIntyre for the title. So, since I've already chosen Gable to win, I'm going to say Priest wins, like you said, over by a DQ or something to that level.
Right.
The popular notion here is that Punk somehow shows up, costs McIntyre again, which would be interesting in Scotland. I'm going to take this different. And look, Punk doesn't need to fight for the title, but they always seem to involve him in the title. So I think Mike's right. I think this has to be for the title at SummerSlam. So here's what I think. I think Punk shows up, teases, screwing McIntyre over again, takes out Priest, giving McIntyre the win, and says, I want you and to take that belt off of you at SummerSlam. So Scotland gets their champion. They set up the Punk event.
But doesn't that ignore the fact that the winner of King of the Ring gets the title shot? And who's the winner of the King of the Ring? You cannot take Gunther out of this equation. That's why I predicted what I predicted, is that Gunther has to get his title shot. He's earned it for SummerSlam. He's already locked in.
I just think we're throwing the curveball.
We're going to have a 3-way match. McIntyre, Punk, 4 quarter.
Hey, there we go.
Why is it not Gunther against Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam? I thought that would be the match.
There you go.
I don't know. I've seen Gunther face to face with Priest too.
Yeah, so. we could go on this forever is the problem, but no, I think they throw the Punk curveball here and he helps McIntyre.
It stinks you got to go, Brian, because we've got listener questions rolling in now.
And, we do.
I might be able to do 10 minutes.
All right, 10 minutes in the next segment, and we'll continue on with Coach Brian with Monte and Pharaoh as well. Make sure you go check out their YouTube channel. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Hour number 2 up next. Underdogs here on ESPN Northwest Florida, 40 minutes away from our final opportunity for you guys to get entered into the 7-year send-off from ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll give you the cue to call at 540. You call the number 850-215-6290 and be caller number 10. That's brought to you by PCB Hobby Fairfield, Hampton Inn on Thomas Drive, and Home 2 Suites. We are joined now by Coach Brian Haddad. We've got Jimmy Pharaoh and Monte on the line with us, and we're talking we talked Clash at the Castle, but then some questions started rolling in. Chef Ross typing out, the real question is, do I get to finish my story of qualifying for those Brave tickets? He's called the station today 41 times trying to be
41
caller number 10.
Did you take the phone off the hook yet?
No,
wow,
sir.
41.
Whatever
That's persistence.
When I see Chef Ross, I just hang up. I don't tell him this. Hopefully he's not listening, but I just hang up on him and move right on. So it's not a coincidence that you're caller number 7 every single time there, Chef Ross. That's automated. I actually just play him a little recording. It says, you're caller number 7, and then move right on. All right. So we got a text in that wants to know, and I think you guys talked about it a little bit, but who would you say is the most electrifying wrestler in WWE history?
Just the use of that term would lend you to say The Rock, so I'll go with The Rock. I'll take the easy road.
All right.
Who had the greatest karma in the history of the WWE? The most over? Be hard-pressed to top Stone Cold Steve Austin in the late 90s.
That's a good
Be
one.
really hard-pressed when that glass crashes. You could just forget about it.
Monty.
I'm going with Hogan. Hulk Hogan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
That's
brother.
what I was probably going to say.
There you go, brother. All these answers, by the way, are correct in their own way.
That's right.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty about, I would say, from the wrestling perspective, is just you can pretty much. There's some right answers, but for the most part, it's your own perspective, right?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, there's probably somebody sitting at home listening to the show right now going, Undertaker.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't be wrong.
You're right.
And they wouldn't be wrong.
Younger people are going to say Cena.
Right.
And
Correct.
there's plenty of answers.
That's correct.
Sure.
Nobody's saying Cody Rhodes, by the way.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Do you think he gets there?
No, not to that. No, not to that.
I don't.
I don't think so.
I don't. I think he's been a better champion than I thought he was going to be, and he fills a great role, but I don't think he transcends like some of those other guys do.
Monty, what say you?
I say his name is Stardust.
Wow, one bad gimmick and it's all over forever. Doesn't matter what you do. That's hilarious. Stardust did suck, though. Can I say that word? I think I just did.
You did. So we're there. So Wright State Chris texted in and said there's been a lot of talk about Scott Hall in the comment section today. And Scott Hall, he said it was terrible that he never got an opportunity to win the heavyweight title. Right. Would you guys say that that was which wrestler not winning the championship was the biggest, the worst? I'm doing
who's the best wrestler who didn't win the heavyweight championship?
Bada bing, bada boom. Way to
Scott Hall has to be up there. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I know I'm missing
Roddy Piper.
Roddy.
Absolute. I knew there was somebody I was missing. Roddy Piper would have been phenomenal. He didn't need the belt, but he would have been great with it.
Well, we you know, as Mike remembers, we've had Scott Hall on before he passed away. Scott didn't want the belt.
Yeah.
Because the belt means responsibility.
Yeah.
And Scott didn't want any part of responsibility. And that was, it was a bit of an eye-opener to hear that from the great Razor Ramon Scott Hall, but he just didn't want that sort of luggage. He was more interested in living the rock star lifestyle, and, it wasn't for him. Tommy Rich, who we've had on our show, was NWA champion back when it really mattered to be one for 5 days. And we both asked Tommy, Tommy, why such a short run? I didn't want to leave Georgia. I was big in Georgia. There's no reason for me to go anywhere else. I was perfectly happy in Georgia. Let Flair run around be an idiot.
That's right.
I mean, basically, and it's pretty funny when you find these things out. Bob Backlund was a real company man. Loved what he did, took the title around the world for 5.5 years, defending it in Japan, defending it against Flair down in the Omni in Georgia, defending it up in Madison Square Garden or the Spectrum or the Boston Garden. If you try to take the belt off him in what's called a shoot, when you're not following good luck, because he'd hurt you. Yeah. He would hurt you. He was a true company wrestler. He was a wrestler's wrestler and a company man. It's funny when you interview all these guys and you get to see behind the scenes, well, why weren't you champion? Sometimes the answer is, I didn't want to be. I wanted nothing to do with it.
Let me throw one more name into the mix. I'm curious Monty's thoughts on this, too. Sure. What about Ted DiBiase? Because I know he was pretty close in the old NWA days. I know there was some talk of that at one point. I guess he was given it, but what do you think, Monty?
In actuality, we have Ted DiBiase on, and Jimmy petitioned that Ted DiBiase should be recognized as World Heavyweight Champion because he was.
That's right.
That's a true story, and all of a sudden he brought the $1 million belt back to the NXT the next week. That's a true story. So he actually did listen to us, and the next thing you know, he's cashing in, making all the money, and we're still watching Uncle Floyd reruns. Way to go, Mike.
Was that cashing in from the state of Mississippi, though?
What was that, Mike?
I want to throw one name in there.
Yeah.
Mass Superstar.
Oh, Mass Superstar was great. He could have been champion. Hey, how about Greg Valentine, who held it in New York for a couple of weeks while they, held the belt up everywhere else and gave the belt back to Backlund. Greg Valentine with magnificent Morocco. Yeah. That was another world championship material guy. There's plenty of guys.
What about Jimmy Snuka?
What about Jimmy Superfly?
Yeah.
He was never world champion.
It's hard to believe he was never the champion as big as he was, certainly in the Northeast.
Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect was never champion, the great Kurt Hennig. Well, he was champion of AWA. Does that count, Mike? Of course it does, right?
James texts in. He says Nikita Koloff.
What about Cody Rhodes?
I don't know if that's pertaining to this. All I'm seeing is a text here. I don't know who this is, so I'm throwing it out there.
Koloff was a great heel in the old NWA days and WCW or whatever.
Nikita Koloff?
Yeah.
Nikita Koloff could have been a world champion.
Yeah,
he was definitely world championship material.
The funniest thing about that is how many people think he was a legit Russian when he was from Minnesota, which is hilarious.
Chief J. Strongbow was an Italian who played an Indian.
That's right.
So what are you going to do?
I love wrestling, folks.
Jimmy, you should tell that story about Nikita when he was in studio, why he did that.
Why he did what, Mike? Fill me in.
Why he held that Russian persona. He lived it nonstop. He even in front of the boys acted like he was Russian.
Right. Yeah, he was really, really, really into that role. Mike, the only thing I can never stop thinking of is with Nikita Koloff was when we were trying to find the car in the parking lot, and we walked around in circles for an hour with Koloff.
Is that the same guy as Nikolai Volkov you're saying, or is that somebody different?
That's somebody different.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Volkov
somebody different.
was mostly in the WWF with Iron Sheik, and
Yeah, that's what I
Koloff
thought,
was kind of a
Bolshevik
heel with
guy.
Rhodes and Flair and kind of that time frame of the old WCW, well, NWA. At that time, but yeah.
What about that Sergeant Slaughter? I remember even having the G.I. Joe action figure.
There you go. He could have easily been and was WWF champion. He could have been champion in multiple organizations.
That's right.
He was champion, yeah?
Right.
Yeah, he was.
Right. That didn't go over very well, but yes, he was.
No.
Yep. He was champion.
What else?
Who was the worst champion in WWE history?
Ooh, WWE history?
WWF. And I'm partial to WCW, so you can always throw those
I
in
love
there.
the shock value of it. Jinder Mahal has to be in mix here. It has to be in the mix.
That was torture. Jinder Mahal.
That was the most shocking championship probably ever.
You want to talk about the air going out of a building? It was SummerSlam, I want to say 2017 or 18, where Jinder Mahal comes in against Shinsuke Nakamura, and the whole building knows it's his time, Nakamura's time to win the title. He's won the Royal Rumble. He's done everything. He's a legend in Japan. He's got the crowd 1,000,000% on his side. 1, 2, 3. The winner, Jinder Mahal. Air removed from building. The whole place was like, are you kidding me? Did you really just make this decision? It was a terrible decision, and it was bad for business, too, because Jinder didn't do anything. So it was a really awful...
The great Khali is the worst champion.
Good God. He was bad, too. Hey, what about Stan the Man Stasiak back in the day? He looked like a baked potato in shorts.
I was just thinking about that. You're right.
It was awful.
Well, here's the thing. Stasiak was set up to be a transitional champion.
Right.
The one that's probably the most disappointing for where they thought it should go and how quickly it ended because he couldn't carry it. How about the Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah.
He was so big. They were pinning so many hopes on him, and what a disappointment it ended up being.
I was very angry when he beat Hogan. I was the only one in the room protesting. Everybody else is jumping up and down for the flavor of the month, and I was saying, this is just the flavor of the month. Hulk Hogan is the true legend and the true greatness is a terrible decision. And I turned out to be historically correct on that one. What an observation, huh, Hayes?
Hey, not a prediction, baby. That was an observation.
Not bad.
What about Yokozuna?
Yokozuna was awesome.
I actually liked
I thought
Yokozuna.
he might have been a bad one.
No. I'm glad you mentioned him. Yokozuna was a great heel, man. He was a great heel.
But I mean, a bad champion, though?
He was a good champion that was involved in a terrible storyline, which was beating Brett and then losing to Hogan.
Here comes Hogan.
Oh, it was so bad.
There were some times where Hogan probably should have not overstayed a certain welcome. Bad. There was, brother. Oh, well, what are you going to do? But I liked Yokozuna, and he's pretty fondly thought of over the years, Yokozuna. He's from the great Samoan family. Believe it or not, Yokozuna's part of the Samoan dynasty.
Right. You know, I just...
The Japanese...
Is the Samoan dynasty the greatest dynasty in all of sports?
Wow.
That's actually a really interesting question.
Are you being really serious? Because the answer might be yes.
I'm asking because, I think
it's such a huge tree.
I mean, I'm thinking about baseball and football now and stuff like that.
You just think of the Yankees in general, your team, and how they are, or Brian's team as well. So, some of the dynasties they've had, and the way that Caveman Rick looks at a dynasty and the way that I look at the dynasty they're kind of two different. I'm a little easier on saying, all right, if you win 2 out of 3 for me, that's a dynasty. Well, Caveman's like, you bet you got to win 3 in a row.
You got to basically 3 or 4.
If you're asking family dynasties, family dynasties, then I think they very well could be. If you're asking dynasties, then there's something about, to me, 1949, 50, 51, 52, 53 with the New York Yankees. Because that's ridiculous what they did 5 years in a row doing that.
Just in wrestling for the sheer numbers, probably. I mean, obviously, you've had some multi-generation families through the year. Obviously, the Rhodes right now, and you've got some others, the Gagnes. Well, Vern, not so much Greg. Although Greg's a great guy and was, a good wrestler. But there are others, but just for the sheer number in the Samoans, it's hard to beat.
Mike, is that the greatest dynasty ever as far as family goes in professional sports? Is it the Samoan dynasty?
I would say so.
I think so.
I would put the Wyndhams up there also.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
a
lot of branches there, too.
You got Blackjack and Barry and Bray. That's right. Very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Real fight. Who wins?
The Howes.
The who?
The Howes, like Gordie Howe and his sons, all playing in the NHL.
Hey, the Hulls.
He's got a good point because people don't realize just how great Mark was.
There was like 5 of them playing together too.
Mark himself is underrated. If you look at Mark was a defenseman. Have you seen some of the goals?
He was a Philadelphia Flyer.
This guy was unbelievable.
Yeah,
and he gets it like he's an afterthought because Gordie was his dad.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, the Hulls.
It was only 2, Brett and his dad.
You got that. Yep, you got that too.
We were talking about Raul a lot last night.
Wait, what do you got, Mike?
What about the Von Erichs?
Oh
hey, I can't believe we overlooked them.
That's true. What a family.
That's so much what should have been. I mean, you could throw the Hearts in there, I guess, as well. But
wait, hold on, Yogi Berra and Dale.
Wait a minute. What about the Hanson brothers?
The Hansons?
Oh, yeah, Slapshot.
Come on now.
Yeah, 3 brothers.
All right. Case closed.
UFC. What is it? The Shamrocks. They have they got all their jiu-jitsu schools and whatever, and all their family members that have fought. So maybe.
Right. Well, speaking of UFC, you said real fight. Who we got coming up?
What do you got, Dave?
Steve Blackman. Steve Blackman, or how am I not reading my own handwriting over here? Or Haku.
Yeah, I want to answer this one. Haku versus God. Haku.
Haku. Wait a minute. Versus God.
He would bite his nose off.
God, how do you even know God has a nose?
Well, he won't after fighting Haku.
Wow, you do have a point. Boy.
and here's the thing. Steve Blackman, legit tough guy.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Multiple martial arts, like legit, made JBL like grovel like no one ever has.
Right.
But Haku is Haku. I mean, every wrestler will tell stories of Haku beating up an entire bar. Yeah. And I don't mean all the people, I mean the bar itself.
Right.
What about Andre the Giant, though? He was
Thank you for saying that, Caveman. Mike, Andre and Haku, Caveman just totally triggered this one. Andre and Haku are obviously a legendary tag team together.
Right.
What happens if they're at a bar and they get carried away? Haku fights Andre. Who wins, Mike?
Andre, clean, easy.
Yeah, and Andre can drink him under the table, too.
Yep, there you go. Caveman's all over it.
Haku's going to get his shots in, but if Andre ever grabs him, it's over.
Goodbye. Exactly. Over. That's the age-old discussion. Who would win, Andre the Giant or Bruce Lee?
Yeah.
And all Andre has to do is get a hold of him, correct, guys?
Yeah, that's right.
So there it is.
Man, I don't know. Bruce Lee, I mean, but here's the thing, though. I know this a little bit because I'm not like no fighting expert, defensive tactics course, but if you can grab somebody in the right spots, I don't care how big the person is, you will bring them down. You will make them say that they wear women's underwear or something if you so choose to, because they will say whatever you want them to say.
The problem with Andre is you got to climb 10 miles to find that spot.
What are you saying? He's got sensitive nipples?
No, you got pressure points on your body where if you stuck a thumb or something in a spot.
I don't know if y'all are Game of Thrones fans. I had this visual of the viper in the mountain, and that's exactly what this would be.
No, he is right, though. Certain things can bring any man to his knees.
Yeah. And I think Bruce Lee would know, how to do that.
Yeah,
that would be something.
I think you're right about that one.
All right, and then we'll finish it up here.
Water.
Like water. With y'all's Mount Rushmore.
Did anyone get the trivia question?
Yeah, did anyone get the trivia question?
Let's go back to that real quick. 850-215-6290. The question was, what was the result of the first ever WrestleMania match in 1985? And your category or your choices are Andre. I had to close out a pop up there. Andre the Giant defeating Big John Studd. King Kong Bundy taking down Special Delivery. Junkyard Dog defeating Greg Valentine, or Tito Santana defeating the Executioner. 850-215-6290. If we don't get it after you guys wrap up the your Mount Rushmores here, we'll give the question or the answer out. But let's start with you. Let's go, Pharaoh.
There you go.
Your Mount Rushmore.
Wow, my Mount Rushmore.
Because I know you said it was going to be tough, so I'll give you a little time to think.
Oh, my God.
Are we talking just WWE, or are we talking historical wrestling?
all time.
Okay.
Your favorite wrestlers, and if four is too hard, we could.
It's a personal one. Okay.
If
I'm not bringing Jim Londas in or anything like that.
You do that, I'll put a leg lock on you. What are you doing?
If 4 is too hard, we can make it a little harder and just go with 1.
No, that's fine. The Mount Rushmore is fine. I'm going to do it as a historian, not as far as my personal favorite, because they probably wouldn't be the same. Hulk Hogan has to be on Mount Rushmore. Stone Cold Steve Austin has to be on Mount Rushmore. The Rock deserves to be on Mount Rushmore, and John Cena. Now, what I've done is I've basically taken, since we started WrestleMania, I've gone through the Attitude Era, and then I've gone through the Ruthless Aggression Era. If there is a fifth one, and I'm being historically responsible, it's Roman Reigns. Okay, these are the faces of all the major movements that happened, for the most part, in WWE history. So that's my 4. I can see Roman bumping possibly one of them, but I wouldn't personally. That's my 4 for now: Hogan, Rock, Cena, and Austin.
Mike?
I'm going with my favorite Mount Rushmore.
I like that.
I'm not going historically. Hulk Hogan, Kerry Von Erich, Rowdy Roddy Piper, and Roman Reigns.
There you go. It's a great list.
Mine would be Sting. Hogan. Sting was my favorite.
Let him have his list, you bully. See, there's bullying going right there.
Right there. Someone write an article up and put it on Monte The Pharaoh's website.
He's ready to spray paint on you.
I'll give Sting.
Unbelievable.
Sting, Hogan, because I actually got to meet Hogan when I was younger. I got to go Flair because I was my cousin's favorite wrestler, and then Rey Mysterio.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Caveman, you got a list?
All right, yeah, real quick. I mean, I only thought it for a little while when I was a kid, but how about, of course, Hulk Hogan, pretty big.
Cool.
George Animal Steel was the tongue and like the hairy back and like chewing on like what is it, a turnbuckle, like tearing it apart and like eating it and whatever.
Okay. Elementary school teacher, by the way.
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Roddy, of course. You know, and British Bulldog.
Oh, very nice list, Caveman. Very nice.
I'm going to kind of bridge favorite and historical here and throw in some different names, although I love Piper. He was good. Hogan has to be on it no matter what. Okay. I'm going to throw Harley Race on there.
Very nice.
Big Harley Race fan, what he did traveling the world with the NWA title. I never popped harder for anybody than Stone Cold Steve Austin, so I got to put him on there. The fourth one is tough.
Look at you struggling. There's wires burning on his earlobes.
I can't leave Flair off of that list.
There you go.
I just can't do
there
it.
You
so
go.
I'm going to go Flair and Race. We'll get our NWA over there, and then I'll have Austin and Hogan.
Very nice.
Nancy says Hogan, Flair, Stone Cold, Undertaker. Kyle says Sting, Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold.
How amazing. None of us said Undertaker. Isn't that amazing?
No.
That's how hard this Mount Rushmore is.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
I mean, that's why I really like the historian approach to it and the favorite approach. I mean, there's just so many ways you could do it. It's interesting because anytime we start talking about wrestling on the show, that's a lot of people want to go right to that direction. Like, what's your Mount Rushmore? And it's kind of cool because you learn about people through finding out about their Mount
Notice
Rushmore.
that no one on the list, our lists, mentioned Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Bret Hart.
Foley.
Wow.
Sure.
Man.
And I'll tell you, talent that should have been, Barry Windham is right at the top of the list.
I'm surprised that wasn't on Mike's list. How about that, Mike? You didn't say Barry.
He was close.
Yeah.
He was close.
Sure. He's one of the all-time legends.
Talent.
Yep.
Well, the answer to the trivia question, what was the result of the first ever WrestleMania match in 1985?
Arriba! Tito Santana versus the Executioner.
That is 100% correct. We're going to be sending Pharaoh home with $25 for that.
Wait a minute. Do I get a Culver's coupon? I'll take Coach to Culver's? I mean, what's going on here?
Hey, let's get them signed up.
Sponsor, all right?
Hey, shameless plug right there. Shameless plug.
Oh, my God.
Again, guys.
I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
Who was the Executioner?
Vader.
I should know that.
Nope.
And I don't know that.
I don't know.
Nope. Nobody knows. I know. Mike, you want me to say it to you?
You could say it there, Jimmy.
Playboy Buddy Rose.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
How about that one? You gotta love it. Do I win something else? Do I get to go to a gas station and get a few dollars off my
free
tank?
trip outside of the door.
There we go. Where you can smoke cigarettes at will.
Hey, again, guys, Monte and the Pharaoh, catch them on Cablevision, YouTube, Facebook, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Man, this is just a taste of how fun that show is.
Was this really an hour? This flew right by. That's
it was, it was
crazy. Well, thank you guys very much for having us. We appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Mike, thanks so much for your time, my friend.
Thank you, guys. God bless.
Absolutely. All right, as Coach Brian said, make sure you're checking them out. We put the link on our Facebook feed as well, so you can go check out their channel. Coach Brian, we're going to have you back with us Monday, but as always, fun. 540's open if the guys want to come back and recap what happened at the Clash at the Castle. This is the afternoon.